Great. Thank you so much.
Namaskar, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. And thank you so much for joining on a Sunday morning. Um, I'm just letting a few more people in and we'll get started in a minute. Before we do, just wanted to take a quick check-in. How many of you have joined this for the first time, like a webinar with me? Just want to know if I need to give an introduction or can we just dive in? Can you let me know in the chat window if you joined here for the first time?
Yes.
Hi, Smita.
Ask
Hi,
everyone else to please put yourself on mute. Okay, amazing. Okay, so I see there are a few first timers. Brilliant. So before we start, I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to myself. I'm Supriya. I have been in the content and communication space for over 17 years now. I spent 8 of those years on the corporate side, which is the client side, working with content creators and agencies like yourselves. And then in 2015, I decided that enough of being on the client side. Let me just dive in and experience the agency side. So since 2015, I have successfully started and run two marketing agencies. One was a full spectrum agency, and one I started focused on content. And then when I started the content agency, I wanted to find more um, versatile writers who can support me in delivering, work to my clients. And that's when the Content Collective was born, which is the name of this community, which is effectively a group of aspiring content writers who um, are very talented, but somehow they don't know how to enter the highly paid club. And that is what the learning interventions we do in this community are oriented towards. How do you become a good content writer? How do you use that skill and monetize it? Not just for, 10, 20 paise per word, but to really earn a very sustained and um, good income, which is not measured by per word, but by the value that you deliver to the client. So this webinar is a part of one of those learning interventions, and we call it the Ascend webinar. Basically, one of the questions I get asked a lot in these sessions or in the community is that, okay, how do I start? I don't know where to start. I've been doing this for so long also, but I don't know where I'm falling short or why am I not able to charge more for my services. So the idea is to, you know, talk you through some of the things I feel are very relevant when you're just starting out, and that is what the framework is going to talk about. Where do you begin? How do you proceed? And how do you sustain the success that you get in your journey as a content writer? So that's effectively about me, about the Content Collective, and today's webinar. So I'm just going to dive in. If you have any questions, you can put that in the chat window, and I will take them as and when I see them or towards the end of the session. Okay. You would not be able to unmute yourself because sometimes people forget to mute back and then there's a bit of disturbance. So anything you need to say to me, you can please put it in the chat window. Um, and now that I see there are a few first timers, I also want to know what is like your experience with content writing? Are you a beginner, a fresher, or you've been doing it for some time? So if you're a fresher, type that. If you are doing that for some time, then type in the number of years that you have worked as a content writer. And if you have like a specific niche or a domain area that you work with, that also would be good to know. Okay, I see quite a few freshers and a question which I will address later. Okay. So quite a few freshers, which is great because now that you're joining this today, you know, okay, this is now how I need to proceed going forward. Okay. I see somebody who has 30 years experience, but a fresher content writer. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. 4 years healthcare and CRM. Okay. I think that's a good domain to have also. A lot of work to be done in. Um, yes, you can use fresher as a word. Okay, so let me share my screen and I'll dive into the webinar. I don't want to keep you a long time on uh, a Sunday. Just sharing my screen. Once you can see it, please let me know. Just give me a thumbs up if you can share my screen, see my screen. Yes, no? Okay, I guess now it's visible. Great. Cool. So I'll just get started. Great. I think everyone can see it now. Okay. So the first order of the day. Have you heard of this poem, The Ancient Mariner? There's a line there that sort of resonates with me a lot. And it says, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink, right? And somehow I feel that's what happens to a majority of content writers that are out there because the market is huge. Okay. And literally every day I'm getting calls from my clients that they want good content writers. They want to hire them full time, they want to work with them freelance, but they want good content writers and they're not able to find them. In a couple of years, people will be spending almost $500 million or more on content marketing, right? And content marketing, of course, is a larger universe, but content writing is a large part of this universe because without the content that is written, there is no marketing it, right? And if you just look at one element of content writing, which is blogs, there are 7 million blogs that are being published every day. Now, someone is sitting and writing them. Some of them could be people like you and me who are trying to um, showcase our expertise, etc. But there are a lot of these who are coaches, consultants, business owners, companies, corporates, whatever, who are also putting out their expertise into this web sphere that we have, and they don't have time to sit and write these blogs, right? They are working with someone to get this content published. So that's a only in blogs there is so much market share to capture, and then you have so many other different types of collateral, right? You have emails, you have brochures, you have web pages, you have flyers, case studies, articles, white papers, ebooks. There's just like social media, you name it, and different types of content format are all available for the taking. Yet, when I had surveyed this community initially, 58% of people said that they make less than 2 rupees a word. Okay. And this is the problem because if you're just making let's say 1 rupee a word for ease of calculation, to make as just around 40,000 rupees a month, you will have to write 40,000 words, right? And that's a lot. If you're writing so much, you are not able to, focus on the quality of that work. And then you get into that vicious cycle. So how many of you have gone through my 30-day email writing course? Not email writing, a 30-day course on content writing. Can you let me know in the chat window? It's a free course. Okay. One person has DM'd me that they did. Yeah. Okay, great. So if you've gone through that course, you must have seen that in the first email itself, I talk about how quality is more important than the quantity of work you do, because what you get paid for is the quality. Okay. And if you haven't done the course yet, it's a free course. You can go enroll and you get one email in your inbox every day, which talks about what can you do to become a highly paid content writer. Okay. So if there is so much opportunity in the market, if people are literally dying to find good content writers, why are people not making money? Right? So this is a question. And I'd love it if some of you could maybe introspect a little bit and put in the chat window What is it that is getting in the way? Why are you not getting paid well to write? Any thoughts in the chat window? Till then, I'm just going to give folks the link to the 30-day course, those who haven't. Um, I'm waiting for your answers, okay? Why are you not getting paid well to write? I don't know how to pitch to the client correctly, not able to create emotional connect, the quality of content and business viability, not able to locate such clients. Okay, that's also a good point. 1 second. I'll just put a link to the 30-day course here so you can just access that. Because people write content with AI because require volume expectations with the use of AI and quality goes down. Yeah, all that is fair. Let me just reshare my screen and I'll address some reasons why, people fail to charge the price that they ought to. Okay. Some of these you guys have already talked about. You are unable to find the right clients and the right projects. You don't understand what the client wants. Yeah, so let me just go one by one on these and I'll also expand on them as we go forward. Um, when I say right clients and right projects, right? What it means is not everybody has the capacity to pay. And I have this favorite example. If you take the Kohinoor and you go to a fishing village and you try and sell it there, people might appreciate the quality of the diamond, but they don't have the need for that diamond or the means to pay for it, right? Versus you take it to maybe the Ambanis and they will snap it up, right? Because they know the value and they also have the capacity to pay for it. So right glance is not just okay, somebody who needs content, but also who has a budget and the need for the kind of content that you're writing. So finding those clients is the important aspect. Second is understanding what the client wants. If you don't know what they want, then you will not be able to deliver on it. And then, of course, the quality will drop and the client will not want to work with you again. Third is specialization. Now, why is specialization important? Because, clients are not outsourcing content because they just have extra money to spend. They are outsourcing content because they want to save themselves the time and effort that it needs to create such content. So what they want from you is not just somebody who can put two words together, but somebody who understands their industry, who understands their business, and is able to bring in that unique perspective to make that content piece very relevant to their audience. And this only happens when you specialize. So and especially in industries like technology or finance or legal, where you need a lot of understanding of the subject matter to be able to write something which is usable, right? And so it happens a lot with me that when I start working with new content writers and I tell them, okay, write about, what is the scope of AI in manufacturing, for example. So if I give them the subject, give them the topic, and they start writing about it, what comes back is a guide to AI for a college student, right? Now, that's not what you're going to get paid for. We need a guide to AI manufacturing for manufacturing CEOs, right? Who are preferably, running billion-dollar companies themselves. So you can't give them a basic piece of content. And this is happening because there's a mismatch in specialization. So whatever niche you choose, whichever direction you want to go in, you need to know it very well for you to be paid well, right? Then, of course, we know that there are millions of content writers out there, and if you don't have differentiation, right, then you'll just be another writer in the crowd, and people won't know why they should work with you, right? And this is also happening because you're not able to show them the value that you bring to the table. Why work with you and nobody else, right? Um, Another important thing is that you don't know your worth and you're not confident enough to ask for higher pay. So I've seen that happen a lot of times. Uh, and sometimes if you just ask, people are willing to pay more, right? Because they know that you bring something to the table, and these are in order. Okay, you need to have first demonstrate the value, then ask for higher pay. Don't go saying I will charge so much, but I don't have any samples to show, or I can't, I'll not do any work for you, but I just want this money first. So that's not going to work, right? You have to first build trust and then ask for what you're worth. And of course, finally, you don't have anyone raving about your work, which means we all are social beings. We work on feedback and trust. So if I see somebody else is saying good things about you, I'm more likely to work with you than just, you're a random person who's pinged me out of the blue on LinkedIn and saying that I will write content for you. That probably will not get noticed at all. Right? So these are some of the reasons that people are not getting paid well. So today we want to address how you can overcome all of these with a in-depth framework. But obviously that's going to not happen overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, it's going to take a lot of effort from your end. So if you're willing to put in that effort and time, then it makes sense to stay on and understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. Um, so I want to address one big question that everybody asks me, but then what is the niche that pays, right? What are the high paying niche, etc. What I feel and what I've experienced is that every niche has high paying opportunities if you know where to look. So, for example, I have worked for perfumes, detergents, real estate, wines, coaching, tech. Okay. And everywhere I have managed to get the price that I was looking at. For example, to write a 400-word blog on wines, I was getting paid 5,000 rupees, right? And this was through an agency. So I'm sure the agency was getting paid much more than that for a 400-word blog, right? And this was when I was just starting out. If I go back into this niche, I will definitely charge higher. But it's not just because I work in tech that I get more money. In any content, any industry that I've worked with, I've typically charged higher rates. Okay. Now the question is, what is high rate? A high rate is a factor of multiple things. Okay, it's not just per word that okay, I'm getting 20, 30, 40, 50 rupees per word. That's not high rate. High rate means for the amount of time that I'm putting in, what is the value that I'm getting, right? So, for example, a 400-word tech blog will take me longer to write, therefore, I will charge more for it, versus a 400-word blog on wines, which will probably take me half an hour to finish, right? So, I'll charge less for it, but my value of time remains high. Okay, so there is a whole different thing on pricing, which we tackle in my 8-week course, but don't make your price fixed that this is what I charge, this is my per word rate, and don't ever do per word rates. But that's another discussion we'll come to. But the point is, figure out how much time you're putting in and then price things accordingly. And when you get into that mindset of charging for value and that bandwidth and effort that you're investing, you will see that high paying opportunities are everywhere. Okay. And in every industry, if you'll see there's this pyramid where the base is the volume content, right? Which every industry wants for social media, SEO blogs, product descriptions, listing pages. Now, unfortunately, most content writers who are not good at their work end up working in this volume content space. Now, this is a space that is the most threatened by AI. If you're writing this content, AI can already write it better than you. So you are getting obsolete and people will stop paying you for this. Or I'm sure you are seeing that people are now sending you AI written content and saying humanize it a little bit, right? Which again, there are algorithms to do now. So this space is getting sort of obsolete. If you're working here, now is the time to upskill and move to the mid-tier and the premium content layer because that is where the money is. Now, mid-tier content is your brochures, flyers, website, case study, annual reports, ads, emails, which is effectively the sales content that people require to get their customers to come understand their product and buy ultimately. And finally, there's a premium content, which every company pays top dollar for because this is what showcases what the company is and what they stand for, right? So their leadership branding, how they talk about certain topics, how they get featured in media publications and research reports, those are premium content. And this is where in any industry you get paid more. Okay. So when we are talking about which clients, we also need to figure out which layer of content are we able to deliver for them, right? So if you're currently writing SEO blogs, moving to thought leadership will take effort on your part, right? Because you have to upskill to get there. You can't say, oh, my skill is SEO writing, but I want to get paid for thought leadership. So that is the assessment that we need to do, and that's where we are going to get into the framework about, right? So clients pay for this. Clients don't pay for the number of words you've written. They are paying for your expertise and the quality that you deliver. They are paying for the convenience you bring to them. That okay, if I work with Supriya, I never have to you know, um, get into multiple rewrites. She understands what we're trying to say and things get delivered quickly, right? So they pay for convenience and they pay for trust and reliability, which is if I give this job to this person, it is guaranteed that it will be delivered in good shape on time, and this person is not going to run away leaving the job half done or leave me in the lurch. So once you're able to establish these three, then you can get out of the per word pricing game and you can get into pricing for value. Okay, so today, for instance, if I write an article for a client, I charge like a 1,500 word article. I charge 85,000 rupees for it if I personally write it. Okay. Now, I don't know how much that is per word, but if I say, that I'm charging 80 rupees per word, then the negotiation starts that, oh, you just wrote and what is this 80 rupees for it or whatever that is, right? So you don't want to get into those haggling negotiations because that depreciates the value. You want to say, I will give you such a fantastic written piece that it would be worth 85,000 for you, right? So that is what we need to build, and it comes slowly over time. It's not an overnight thing, okay? Um, Okay. So today we are going to cover these three things. One is how do you assess and hone your skills to figure out what content that you can deliver? How do you stand out in a competitive market? And how do you identify and capture high-paying writing opportunities? Cool. So when I talk about the Ascendant framework, it has these 6 steps. One is obviously assessment, then which is assessing your skills in the market, then strengthening the ability. Once you figure out where you stand in the market, then how do you go about upskilling and up leveling your capabilities. The third is C, which is create, which is your compelling portfolio, a showcase of who you are, what you stand for, what your expertise is. E is engage with the community. N is negotiate, what you not ought to be paid. And D is deliver, which is consistent quality and results. And all of these elements are needed to build a career as a highly paid content writer. Okay. So in the first step, which is assess, and I will share this recording with you guys, or maybe share these screenshots with you guys so you can do this for yourself later. But here are questions you should start asking yourself, right? Which is, what does the market look like? Where is it that I'm playing, right? Who's my ideal client? So I've given an example of a tech startup that's specializing in AI solutions. Who's my ideal clients? Mid-sized tech startup specializing in AI solution, right? What pain points do my clients face? They are struggling to create engaging technical content for a non-technical audience, okay? Where do my potential clients look for content writers? They are using LinkedIn and industry-specific forums to find content writing experts. What does the competitive landscape look like? Like, who am I up against? That other writers offer general tech writing but lack AI and machine learning focus. Now, how much do potential clients invest in content and what type of content do they create? So they allocate a significant portion of marketing budget to content, focusing on blog posts, white papers, and case studies, right? Now, this is your uh, understanding of the market, right? Right? If you're in a fashion or lifestyle niche, for example, you will change it. Who's my ideal client? Top three fashion and e-commerce companies in India, for example. What pain points do they face? They need to churn out content consistently, but there are missing out on the quality and the engagement. So that way you have to decide whichever niche you're in, what do these questions, answers to these questions look like? Once you know who you are selling to and what do they want, then it comes to where are you in this journey, right? In this map that you've made. So you need to rate yourself and do a very honest self-assessment. And if you feel that you are unable to do this assessment, go to someone who knows you well, who's worked with you, and ask them, right? Feedback is very important. You always need to constantly do this back and forth with clients to understand where are you, you know, missing out on, what do they like about you, where can you improve, things like that, right? But if you're just starting out, do a very honest self-assessment for yourself. So what is your expertise, right? This is what we, talked about that clients want to pay for. How well do you know the niche that you want to write for? So, for example, if my niche is technology, then I will rate it around a 9 or a 10 because I've been doing this for 17 years now and I pretty much know what needs to be said, right? Um, Quality, how well do you write? Like, what is your vocabulary, right? Like grammar, tone, style, adaptability. So, various elements of writing, and how well are you able to deliver on that, right? Do you make your client's life easy, which is the convenience part? So, for example, I have a writer I work with. Now, he's great on quality and expertise, right? I would rate him a 9 on these two. But when it comes to convenience and trust, I'd probably rate him a 4 because it's he sort of vanishes out of the blue, and if he has agreed to a deadline, I am 100% sure that he's not going to meet it, right? So while sometimes I work with him, I don't give him work unless my plate is like extremely overflowing, because I know that chances are that he will bail on me midway. So even though he is great at what he does, because he's not able to deliver the convenience and trust, I'm reluctant to work with him, right? And finally, reliability, which is can they rely on you to deliver on the expectation, quality, time management, communication skill, work ethic, all of that, right? So spend some time and think about where you are. And this will also help you shape your value proposition, right? When you talk to your clients, what do you say about yourself? Answering these questions will bring you an understanding of that. Okay. So once you know who you're targeting, where you are at, then of course it's the strengthening of your writing ability. Now, a lot of people think that if they hear me talk, they'll become better writers. I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen, right? Two things a writer must always do is, one, read widely and often, and second, write often and experiment with different styles and tones. If you get stuck to one style and tone, then chances are that you are shrinking the universe of potential clients that you're working with, because every company, every client has a different tone, different style, and they want you to match their tone and style, right? Because you're writing for them, not for yourself. So the first 2 points are super, super important. And this you can do by taking some writing courses, by, actively asking for feedback and acting on it. Like, for example, when people join my 8-week content intensive, we give them 11 assignments, and every assignment is reviewed and feedback given so that they can work on the feedback and improve on it, right? And not just writing, you have to practice editing and proofreading, because the first draft of anything is crap. So once you've written the first draft, you need to go back. Even today, when I send something to my clients, I review it 3 times myself. So I'll go over it, read it, see what is relevant, what is not, what can I cut down, what can I add, where are the gaps? Is the sentence making sense? Can I make it shorter? Can I make it crisper? Can I make it more value added? Or, does this need some more additional references? So I do all of that, right? So practice, how do you, once you've written something, how do you perfect it? So editing and proofreading is super important. Then another thing is learn to tell stories. Now, some of you may already be good at some of these elements, right? But the idea is, where you're not so strong, maybe just, level up a little. For example, this is another thing, storytelling. Almost everybody who joins the 8-week intensive is like, we don't know how to tell stories because they think storytelling is this some amazing thing where you have to build two paragraphs of um, some hero's journey, but that's not it. A story can be a one-liner also. A story is just something that evokes some sort of response, preferably an emotional response in the reader and makes them feel more connected to the content, right? So how do you learn to tell those stories? And then, of course, you have to keep up with the industry trend. We talked about the expertise part of it. You need to join some writing groups or forums where you can ask, solicit that feedback. You can bounce off ideas each other, and of course, engage in writing challenges or prompts to, um, polish your skills. Now, these are some ways. You don't have to do all of them. You can pick and choose what works for you, and you know, just do one or two of those to sharpen some of your skills, right? So here are again some materials that you can practice on. Most of these are free resources. Again, you will get an email after this webinar and you can which will have these links. So you can go and if you're, wanting to practice grammar or you want to practice with some prompts, you can go to these resources and uh, do the practice. Okay. So after you have worked on your writing ability comes the creation of a portfolio. This is the most important thing in for a content writer. Okay, without a portfolio, especially if you're a new writer, nobody's gonna give you work. Everybody, the first time you approach a client, the first thing they ask is your portfolio. And 90% of the time, content writers don't have a portfolio. Okay. So if you don't have one right now, this is the time to start building one. There's another webinar I do which talks about how to build a kick-ass portfolio. So I'm not going to go into details of it today because we have a lot to cover. But if you haven't, I think that recording must be up on my YouTube channel. If not, I'll do that webinar again soon and you can join that. But if you don't have a portfolio, please start building one. And I'm sure the freshers are asking, but I have not done any um, work. How can I build a portfolio? The answer is figure out who your ideal clients are, go see what they're writing, take any topic from their website, their blog, and rewrite it better than what they have, and you have something to add to your portfolio, right? So a portfolio typically has 5 elements. One is a cover letter or message that outlines your value proposition, which is what can you do for the client. Second, of course, very important is samples of your work that show your versatility as a content writer. So not just, one type of writing, but multiple types, multiple formats of writing. A short bio that establishes your expertise. Again, for beginners, it could be about how you're enthusiastic about the space, and how you're willing to, give a lot of time and attention to it. And for people who've been doing it for several years, and who are the clients you work for, what are the industries you work for, what are the kind of results you've delivered. So that could be your bio. Testimonials and social proof. If you have worked with some clients, ask them for, like a line or two on how your work is amazing. If you haven't, then maybe do a couple of free assignments for friends and family and ask them to talk about your work. And of course, your contact details. So if once you have this dossier ready, anytime a client asks for a portfolio, you can just send this out. So start building this today, okay, or start polishing it today. And like I said, details of this are there's a 1 hour webinar that we do where I dive into details of each of these points, but we don't have time enough to do that today. So just check out my YouTube channel for the recording. So one part of uh, you know the story is the portfolio. The second part is the offer, right? What can you do for me? So define your services. What do you do versus what you don't do, right? And then create a package that your clients may need and then price it right. Okay. So for example, if you're working for a coach, okay, now what do coaches need? They may need a landing page for a new course. They may need some emails that they have to send out to their people, to their audience to nurture them. They may need a few sales emails. They may need some social media copy. Um, and so instead of saying, okay, I'll write one blog for you or one email for you, you can package it as saying that this is a, let's say, a uh, basic coaching success package or something like that. You name it, and you say, okay, for you, month on month, I will write one landing page, four emails, 12 social media posts, and one lead magnet I'll create for you, which will help you in your ads. Now, for this, I'll charge you 50,000 bucks. So what happens now is that offer you have build a retainer income with it, right? You said, okay, I'll do XYZ for you, and you pay me 50,000 every month. And with retainers comes certainty of income because projects are ad hoc, they come one after the other. Retainers is where you build sustainability. Okay. So wherever possible, create packages and get retainers. And I don't know if some of you have seen the story of Aditi. I'm going to talk about her in a little bit, but she was till last year, June, she was in a job and she was working on the side um, as a content writer, making 20,000 rupees a month. Okay. After this course, she today makes 2.5 lakhs a month and mostly on retainer income. Okay. Because she's taken these principles, she's applied them, and she's gone off this around 92,000 I pay her as a retainer. Okay. So because she's packaged her offering and she said, this is what I'm going to do for you, that sounded valuable to me. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and uh, work with it. So there is a retainers, like I said, are very, very important to content writers who are just starting out because then once you get that consistent income month on month, you're not chasing money. So you're not going after the volume game again. You have that stability and you can then pick and choose clients, new clients that you work with, right? And the third element of course, price your offer, right? So you can't say, okay, I'm gonna like you can put a random rate to it. It has to be according to what the client can pay, according to what your effort involved is, and of course, what the competitive pricing is around you. You can always charge higher than that, but it can't be exorbitantly high. So think through a little bit on the pricing as well. So it becomes very easy to reach out to people and convince them of what you can do for them, right? Uh, so I have a question. How about people like me who already have a strong profile in LinkedIn and years of expertise in various areas? Will the link won't work? Um, Yeah, so you can definitely share your LinkedIn profile, and that is a part of your portfolio, right? But they also want to see how you can write certain things, right? And what is it in a nutshell? Um, so that is when the portfolio becomes important. Even I send out a portfolio to every new client, even though they know of me already. They might have worked with me in a previous company, they moved to a new company and they're impaneling me, but I still send it out to them because there might be newer people in the organization who don't know what I stand for and what I bring to the table. So the portfolio just makes it easier for them to pitch my case, right? Which a simple LinkedIn link will not do because it has a lot of different elements which are not really needed to highlight. Okay. Yes, add your LinkedIn profile link, but also make a portfolio. Um, okay. Then finally, it is engage with a network. Uh, and now a lot of people say, um, you know, I don't have a network. If you don't have one, you need to start building one today because people buy from people. Okay. Nobody buys from random messages or random emails in their inbox to say, I will 10x your revenue or I will do this. Everybody knows these are just claims that today everybody who's doing cold calling or cold emailing is making. So the trust factor is very low in cold outreach. Okay. But if, for example, you know of a very good friend of yours who knows somebody in a company that's looking for content writers, and that friend tells the content manager that, hey, I know somebody who's great at writing, why don't you work with them? They, even though they may or may not need content at that point in time, they will have a conversation with you, which will open doors to some project later on. Okay. Why? Because just by virtue of that friend saying that this person is good, a element of trust is already established. Okay. They already know this person comes recommended. So other rather than going through 200 profiles that they don't know anything about, they would rather work with you because somebody knows you and somebody has vouched for you, which is why networks are really, really important. So I'll give you an example of how recently I onboarded two new clients, both of these multi-billion dollar companies. And I initially did not know anyone in the company. So I went online for one company and I found, okay, who's the person who manages content here? Went to the LinkedIn profile, saw who are the people we know in common, figured out one person who's a very good connection of one or two people who are very good connections of mine who I knew really well, and they were also connected to this person. So I reached out, I didn't reach out to this person on LinkedIn, right? I reached out to my friends and I said, listen, I want to work with this company. Here's the person who um handles content, and I see you are also connected on LinkedIn. Can you introduce me? So one of them said, listen, I don't know her that well, so my introduction will not make any sense. Okay. The other one said, yeah, sure, we work together a lot, so I'll introduce you. So this person introduced me to the content manager in that company. But I still did not hear anything back. Then I was talking to another friend and I said, listen, I need to work with this company. Do you know anyone there? So she said, I personally don't know someone, but there is this person I know who knows someone. So she connected me to that person. I spoke to them and they're like, yeah, sure, we work with them very regularly. I'll connect you. So now this person that I wanted to work with got referrals from two sides, from two different people saying, Supriya is a great content writer. You need to work with her. And then she set up a call with me. She liked what I had to offer. She liked the portfolio that I showed her. And then we got empaneled, and I've been working with them for the past 6 months, right? If I had directly dropped her a message on LinkedIn, probably she would not have reverted, even though I have a strong profile, because these messages come in every day to all of us, right? So, building a circle of influence, building a network is super, super important. And it's not only a professional network, a personal network works much better because those people genuinely want to do something for you, right? They're not just business connections. So, and I'm an introvert, okay? I hate talking to people. I hate doing this whole card exchanging, business networking. I can't do it, right? So, where do I build my network? I do other things which are not professional. Like, for example, I'll go to a pot painting workshop. One of my clients came from because we both were painting clay pots side by side. Okay. And we got talking and we became friendly. And then I invited her to my Diwali party and all of that happened. And then she connected me to someone who then started sending me work. So network is not only going to these big fancy networking events and giving your business card to everyone. Trust me, those business cards go in the dustbin. Okay. Or they go into a folder which nobody ever looks at again. So true networking is when you actually meet people when they have their guards down, have a nice conversation, genuinely get to know them, and then they would be willing to open any doors for you, right? So, where is the simplest way to start with your own circle of influence? People you already know and people who they know. Like none of us have been living in isolation, right? We have family, we have friends, we have old colleagues or alumni networks, somebody somewhere along our many years of existence that we have interacted with, right? So that's your first step to building a network, telling them what you do, ask them if they know anyone who could help. Don't push too much, but at least let them know. So if they are speaking to someone who probably needs you should be the first person that they think of. Okay. Then, of course, build a good LinkedIn profile, start connecting with prospects. Again, don't slide into their DMs and say, hey, I'm a great content writer and I can do XYZ for you. Just connect, share maybe a few things of value with them. And over time, then you can ask for potential work or collaboration opportunities. Okay. Attend events that your prospects attend, but like I said, don't just randomly go sharing business cards. Have conversations. If you're going to a large event, the goal is not to meet 50 people. The goal is to meet one or two people and spend good time having a conversation with them so that they remember you the next time you meet them. Okay. And then from the people you already know, from the clients that you've already worked with, ask for referrals. My entire business, which is now multiple crores, is built on referrals. I have never sent a cold um, email or a DM or anything. It's just one person referring me to the next person, right? Or when my clients, they leave a company, they move to another company, they impanel me. And then finally, most important, when you are activating your network, don't sell. Nobody likes to be sold to. They just it's like earlier there were these door-to-door salesmen. They'll knock on the door, and the first thing you would do is just shut the door on their face. That's what blatant sales sort of triggers that response. So you need to offer value first. You need to tell people why you are the expert in your field by helping them solve one of their problems pro bono. Okay. And once you offer that value, people want to reciprocate. Then they want to give you work. Even if they're not able to do it themselves, they will connect you to somebody who might, right? So always go with a value and a giving mindset. You will get multiple folds in return. Okay. So network is super, super important. Uh, Then one of the last steps is to negotiate, which is you need to know what you're worth and you need to claim that. So definitely create a rate card, which is how much you want to charge and what's the minimum value below which the project is not viable for you. I cannot tell you how many content writers still don't have a rate card. So they'll send, I'll ask them for, will you be okay doing this project? Yes. I was like, can you send me your rate card? They don't have one. And when projects come, they are typically on a tight timeline, right? The client wanted it done yesterday. There is no time to negotiate rates from um, scratch, right? So if you have a rate card available, it just makes it so much easier for the person to look through certain things. Also, for you to quote, you may not share your rate card immediately, but if the client is saying, okay, how much are you going to charge for it? You at least have an idea of what that number should be. Okay. So one is create a rate card, at least for your reference, that this is what I want. Okay. Second is find rich clients, okay, which means companies who have the budget to afford a premium content writer. And trust me, these people are easier to work with because they will not nitpick. They are not, they're going to come back and say, can you add this comma here? They'll just do it themselves because for them, time is more important than money. For smaller clients who are paying you lesser, they will go into this endless loop of back and forth and doing things that is a massive waste of their time and your time because they value money over time. Okay. So always find rich clients. When you're quoting something, keep a buffer for negotiation. So add a 10-20% cushion, because everybody likes a good deal. So when you, let's say, charge $100 for something and the client says, I need some discount, if you offer a 5%, 10% off, they feel that they've got a bit of value. So don't price at your minimum viable value. Just charge a bit higher than that. And most importantly, don't think of it as a win-lose game, okay? It's not that if I've quoted this price, this is what I need to get, okay? Be a little flexible because every benefit is not monetary, okay? So look at the lifetime value of a client. Can you get more projects from them? Uh, you know, what is the recurring value? Can they refer you to more people? Will they give you a testimonial? So look at all those things and say, okay, what pricing makes sense for this person? Okay. And honest communication always helps. Then understand where the client is coming from because, they may not always have the budget for this specific project, but could be for somewhere else. So how do you make that offer very lucrative for them for them to sell it internally? They may really want to work with you, but they also are answerable to other people internally, right? They have to make a case for, okay, why should we work with this person? So make that offer lucrative for them to also sell internally. And finally, learn to say no because sometimes these projects are not worth it. So don't waste your time there, move on and find something else. So this is like some very basics of negotiation that you need to know. And finally, towards the end, is deliver value consistently. Okay. It's not a one-time game. It's not that, oh, I did one great project and now I can do whatever I want. You have to keep delivering, build credibility and trust so that clients keep coming back for more. So, which means consistent quality, always meeting and exceeding client expectations, open and transparent communication because, life happens. It is possible that, you may not be able to deliver something on time. You fell sick, something happened in your family. So don't vanish. Tell the client what is happening, help them figure it out, help them solve a problem. Like, for example, recently we were working with a client and our, you know, working styles were not gelling at all, right? The client worked on a whole different, in a different way that wasn't going so great for us. So we were telling them that we can't do this anymore and we'll help you find another agency, right? So we didn't say we will not do it anymore and we stepped out, but we made an offer saying that, we are not able to, this working style not working for us, but we can find you another agency if you want, right? So this is transparency, this is willingness to help, this is being professional in your interactions, not saying that, oh, walking out in a huff, but still helping the client solve some of their problems. So late, you don't burn the bridges when you walk out, right? Um, and also like, take ownership and accountability for a project. So this is what makes your clients keep coming back. So basically, in a nutshell, to enter the highly paid writer club, you need to do at least these five things. First is be better than the best, right? Which only happens when you upgrade your skills and expertise every day. And this is what your differentiator is, right? When a client asks, why should we work with you? That's because you're better than the best. The second is find the right clients, those who appreciate these skills that you've taken time to build and who have the budgets to pay for quality of work. In that right client, also pitch for the right project. So, focus on premium content. Finally, showcase your worth with a kick-ass portfolio and a value proposition. And lastly, get in the right mindset for success. So, few clients, quality over quantity, and extreme accountability and confidence, right? If you're able to do these 4, 5 things, then you would definitely be making the highly paid club. Okay? And you will be a very in-demand, sought-after content writer. So if it is okay, I'm going to talk about a program that I run, which helps people work on these elements and become highly paid content writers. And once I've walked you through this, I'll take the questions. Is that okay? Can I go ahead and talk about it? So this is Aditi's story, by the way, that I was talking about. Um, and like I already explained, she was earning 20,000 a month on the side, decided to take a plunge into full-time content writing after the 8-week intensive, went to 2 lakh a month in income. Sai, who's going to be one of the mentors of the 8-week program, um, this number is now much higher, but uh, within the third month of joining the 8-week program, she started making 1 lakh a month. Vijay it has a full-time job but makes 50,000 a month as a side hustle. Dhanya was earning 80 paisa per word before she joined the course. And in just 2 weeks after joining the course, she got a 1.2 lakhs per project. And there's so many other stories, right? Fahim, some of you might know, works full time with me. There are other people who work as editors. Somebody who was a full-time staff writer doubled his salary, and uh, a long list of people who are now finding highly paid work, right? Um, so there are 8 modules to this program, and the first week, sorry, the first week is goal setting, because I'm a big believer in you need to know where you're going to actually get there. Then we talk about why are people not able to become highly paid content writers. So what are the challenges that writers face in delivering what the client wants? We segue that into understanding what the client wants, like the intent of the message and asking the right questions to get the right information from the client. Then in the fourth week, we talk about the writing fundamentals. How do you structure your content? And, we move that into storytelling and research, and we dive into how to do that best. And then we experiment with different content formats. So how do you write emails, social media posts, blogs, articles, video scripts, etc. And then last 2 weeks are dedicated to creating your portfolio. So across these weeks, you'll be getting assignments which will go into your portfolio. So how do you create a portfolio? How do you pitch to clients? How do you price your services? Keep the basic documentation ready, and of course, the ethics of a good content writer. Okay, so that's what we do. This is how it is going to be delivered. So there are 18 recorded sessions that will be unlocked every week. You will get 4 live calls with me, which is 2 calls a month. But this is perpetual, okay? As long as the program is going on, I do these for like 2 calls a month every month, and anybody from cohort 1 onwards can join these calls. Okay, so it's not just 4 calls with me. It is, I know, multiple calls, as many as you choose to attend. You can ask your questions here, you can show me your work, you can get live feedback, all of that. You get also in the 8 weeks, you get 2 calls a week with the program mentors. They'll take you through the course, they will review your assignments, etc. You get multiple hours of recordings from previous cohorts, so you can watch it at your leisure. You have guides and worksheets to apply these concepts, an exclusive WhatsApp group to network with those people, collaborate, and you know, get preference for writing opportunities. You also get, like I said, 11 practice assignments and feedback on the assignments. And I just want to clarify on writing opportunities, preference is not a guarantee. It depends on your capability. It's a democratic process. Anytime there's an opportunity, I will share it in the group and I'll ask for a rate card and your samples. So whoever samples and rate card matches what I want to offer will get the project. It's not a guarantee that because you're in a course, you're definitely getting an opportunity from me. So want to clarify that. Okay. So the next batch is starting in Feb. You can apply here. And I am going to open the floor for questions now. Just going to go back onto the chat. Let me just stop sharing my screen. I'll give you the link to this as well. And then get into it. So I have shared the application form here. Share it as a picture, sorry. Now let's put it as a link. Cool. So I'm just scrolling through chat. If you have any questions, feel free to type in. I'm just gonna go back. How to write content faster and manage deadlines. Okay. One, it comes with practice. Second is it comes with structure. So if you need, like, for example, when we talked about research, storytelling, and structure, the writing fundamentals in the course, we talk about what is the process of how do you outline something, how you understand what needs to go in, how do you research faster, and then, write, edit, proofread. So there is a process to it, and if you follow that, then writing things becomes easier. And when you do it multiple times, you can quickly close. Your speed automatically increases. But one of the things I find people get lost is in research. So you really need to manage your research time to be able to fit into the deadline. Another option nowadays that people are using is to use AI to do your research or to do your cleanup. But you have to use that intelligently to make sure that your content is not AI flagged and your client is actually getting what they paid for, right? Um, so there's a big crowd in bagging content writing. What are the key attributes for achieving excellence? So I think, Subhash, I have probably answered this over the course of the webinar, which is how do you stand out? Which is how do you build your expertise? How do you showcase your expertise? And then who do you know, right? Who are the people that you can who can vouch for your work? So if you have these three things going for you, then you get more clients. As you work with more clients, you build your portfolio that's stronger, and then that is itself a testament to the excellence that you bring to the table. Um, then I don't know how to pitch the client correctly, not able to create emotional connect. Okay, that's a topic on its own. I may not be able to answer all of it today, right now. But like I said, first of all, if you are going into cold calling, don't do that. First, try and find connections because let them vouch for you, and then that makes things just easier for you. Emotional connect doesn't happen in a day, right? It happens over time. Nobody in a professional world, nobody is waiting to, you know, build emotional relationships. First, they want to see can you do the job or not, right? And the dependence and how your interactions happen evolves over time. It takes months and years to build this. So pitching me, it's not going to happen. Pitching is a factor of how good your portfolio is, how good your presence is. Like, do you come across as confident, as somebody who's a clear communicator who knows what they're talking about, and of course, who has vouched for you. Okay. Um, then choose. Do we need to refer only text or knowledge enhancer, or we need to refer to more sources? Anything and everything. I was just talking to the latest batch of the 8-week intensive the other day, and I mean, you get inputs from everywhere, right? Like at the beginning of this webinar, when I spoke about that poem, right? The water, water everywhere. It's nothing to do with my career as a content writer, but that's just like a poem we did in school that just stuck with me, right? So get inputs from anywhere and everywhere. Even like Netflix is a great resource to write content, movies, novels, fiction is a great thing again. I read a lot of Harry Potter fan fiction. I don't know why it's a addiction, but anyway, so refer to whatever you can. And you never know where it might come up. Your brain will just make those connections and it'll show up in your writing. But read a lot, listen to a lot. A lot of people, podcasting works for them, videos work for them. So whatever works for you, get information from there. Uh, Please recommend books for content writing. I don't have any recommendation. You cannot learn writing by reading books on content writing. Just practice. Read anything and everything else and just then practice and get feedback. That's the only way to improve. Uh, Someone is saying I'm just getting 25 paise per word. So, like I said, you need to follow through on what I said here in this webinar. Figure out why that is happening. Like the assessment part, especially. What are the other people getting? Do you need to move from, for example, if you're getting 25 paise per word for SEO writing, can you offer something else and increase that, right? Get into the next tier of writing. So that's something you might have to spend some time thinking about and doing. Okay. Can you throw some light on building your niche in content writing? Sure. So niche depends on a couple of things. Like I feel when you're starting out and if you don't already have a background in something, right? Like for example, I had a tech background, so I dived into tech head first. But if you don't have a specific background and already some expertise to bring to the table, then don't be very fussy about a niche. Try a few different things, see what comes easily to you, see what you enjoy doing, and of course, what are you getting paid for that? And then over time, once you've experimented with a few things, you can decide, okay, this works best for me, and focus more of your energies there. So even today, if I say I'm a tech content writer, 90% of my work is tech, but I write for coaches, I write for consultants, I also write for one-off ad hoc, some random thing that will come my way because it just also keeps my writing fresh. Every industry has a different way of writing, so I get some interesting inputs and tidbits from there as well. So experiment, understand what is working, where's the money coming from, and then focus more on getting more work there, and the niche will automatically build, like you'll just make a path there. Will the next batch charge a fee? Yes, and if you want fee details, logistics, etc., you can contact Fahim. Um, my view on effect of AI on content writing jobs. So this is a question I think I get every webinar, and my answer sort of remains the same. And I think I addressed it right at the beginning of the webinar as well. It's not just content writing. Sorry about the noise. There's a bit of construction going on, so I'm sorry if there's a bit of disruption. So AI is not going to affect only content writing. AI is going to affect everything. Like consultants in the big four are getting fired. Google is firing like their coding teams, etc., etc. So there is a lot of disruption that AI is bringing. And like I said, if you're doing anything execution led, which is the SEO blogs or product descriptions, AI can already do it better than you. So you have to level up your skills. You have to get into more of the expertise level where you come in not just, oh, I'm another content writer, but as someone who understands your business and I know what you need to talk to your clients. And then you use AI to reduce the time and effort you are putting into writing something to make it a win-win proposition for everyone. So yes, jobs will be cut, but it's not just content writing, it will be across the board. For everyone who's into execution space, the idea is to move to thought leadership, to thinking, to value delivery stage, right? And if you're able to do that, then your position is safe. Are there any platforms where we can look apart from looking at preferred clients? So there are a lot of these freelancer, Upwork, those kind of platforms. There are a lot of agencies like Pepper Content, etc., who are always hiring writers. But again, most of the work there is low value. Okay, you really have to look at highly paid projects there, and then there are too many people pitching. So you have to spend a lot of time in building your profile and portfolio on those platforms, um, which I feel is a lesser guarantee of getting work rather than building personal relationships. So that's just my personal views, but I'm sure since the platforms are so successful, there must be something that people are getting out of it. Uh, Having worked for various industries as a part of an advertising agency, I'm not sure about my niche. How do I find that? So finding niche is about if you've worked into various niches, what is it that came easily to you, right? Because like somebody asked, how do I write content faster? As a writer, your value is unfortunately tied to the time that you spend in. So the faster you churn out things, the more things that you can do and the more money you can make. So to pick up the niche first is what is easiest to do. Second is where is more money, right? So for example, uh, if you know more coaches and consultants, then that should be your niche because okay, the minute I enter this niche, I can get 4 or 5 clients. So for me, that was tech, right? I already understood the place and I knew 4 or 5 people who could give me tech work, right? And it's not a fixed concept that, okay, if this is my niche, I'm never going to do anything else. The idea is that this is my niche, so most of my expertise at my work is centered here, and I can consistently increase my rates and find better clients in this niche. But if other work comes in, I'm open to doing it, right? So when I quit my first agency, which was totally a tech one, and I started my second agency, um, I left with a non-compete agreement to say that none of the clients I was working with in the previous agency I could work with again for a period of 2 years, which was literally everybody I knew. So did I say, no, I have nothing to do. What will I do? Tech is my niche. I'll never do anything else. But I reached out to those people and said, listen, I can't work with you, but do you know someone else? So my first client then was a real estate company. Then somebody came for detergents and fabric softeners. Then somebody came for wine. So that's how I re-entered. And once my caveat, like the non-compete was over, I could go back to my niche. So it's more about figuring out what is working for you at that point in time. Are you finding well-paying clients in that area because of the connections that you have? And how smoothly things are flowing. So that would be my advice on this. Uh, those of you who are asking cost detail and fee structure, please reach out to Fahim. I will write down his email address or apply to the link that I have shared. Because that tells us if you're a great fit or not. Because you've created a good tribe and we would like to. So I've given Fahim's email ID. You can reach out or apply and he will reach out to you. Okay. And he'll explain everything. To apply, there are no strings attached. It's just a chance to have a conversation. Once you have the conversation, you can make a call whether, all these, um, like you'd like to join us or not. So, uh, If I write content for YouTube videos, can I send a video link to client or sending a written video text content will do? Send a video link, that's fine. I wrote the whole blog by myself, but when I checked it on AI detector, I got AI written content. Uh, so this is a challenge with AI detectors. I also put up a post on LinkedIn about it. Because they're ultimately at the end of their tools, they are not very accurate. So wherever it's showing human, just take that screenshot and send it to your clients. That's fine. As long as you honestly know that you've written it yourself. Uh, Also, based on somebody's expertise, are there channels, forums that we can look at in terms of getting projects? Um, See, LinkedIn is the best forum because you have a strong profile on LinkedIn. You already have connections there. People post jobs there, people post openings there. So that's really the best place to look for across industries. I don't think there are any industry specific forums per se to look at, jobs, but if you're a member of any industry, like a lot of people join things like BNI, where the idea is to get business for each other, so that might also work out for you. Do you think reading newspapers and novels really help in content writing? Yes. Is there a possibility of getting client from outside country who can pay us in dollars and help us earn better? Yes. Uh, Technical writing again is a low paying writing field. Okay, if you already have an engineering background, I would say do more of tech thought leadership, like tech content writing, which will pay you better. Um, how are foreign clients different from domestic clients? Are foreign clients more demanding in quality, time constraints, etc.? Please explain. They are more structured, I feel, but also there's a unfortunate perception to some foreign clients that India is a low-cost destination, so they might expect you to charge lesser for your services than good Indian clients. But like somebody asked, yes, there's definitely a possibility of getting foreign clients. Paying in dollars definitely could um, be more rewarding. But one of the things that foreign clients often, struggle with is that Indians tend to write Indian English, whereas they want either US or UK English, which means the way the sentence is structured, the syntax, etc., is the colloquial usage is something that Indian writers do not get. So they Indianize their English a lot, and that doesn't work. So more often than not, projects fall through. So um, yeah, they're more structured, they're more understanding, they're more um, they give better briefs. So I would say overall, in terms of quality of working, they might be better than Indian clients, but pricing wise, somehow I feel Indian clients end up paying equal, if not better. Okay. So I think that's a lot of questions for today. I've answered almost everything. Thank you so much for joining in, for giving us your weekend. And I look forward to seeing some of you in the next batch also. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.